Hey, thanks for tuning in to German Chocolate, Life of a Mixed Girl. I'm Jessica Vivian, aka German Chocolate. And if you're watching, you see I have another friend with me today. Today, on the episode called Booking Queen, which you'll find out why in a moment, I have Nina Vu-Matlock, a Vietnamese actress who travels between LA, Atlanta, Tampa, Orlando, and all of those cities for work. She is the booking queen, if you want to find her on Instagram at nina.vuuu, so triple U. She is also a mom and a wife, and she has a ton of hobbies such as dancing, horseback riding, surfing, and golf. OMG. I already don't know how I do everything. I don't know how you do everything, but hello, also from the car today after her horse riding lesson. Hi, Nina.
Hi, Jessica. How are you today?
Really good. I've been so excited because as we're trying to do this between conflict, work related or mom related things, it's already hard as an adult to like meet and do things. I'm so happy we got this
Right.
on the books today.
Woohoo!
How was your
Finally.
lesson?
My lesson was good. Actually, today is my first horseback riding and my first horseback riding lessons in LA because I've been taking them back in Florida. And finally, I found an affordable blade for LA because everything here is just so expensive.
I can only imagine. Where in Florida? In Tampa? You ride horses in
Tampa,
Tampa?
yes.
Huh, I didn't even
Hmm.
know we had a place there. I'm learning so much. I lived in the Orlando area before, so I moved to the Tampa Bay area officially a little over 2 years ago, but I've been back and forth between Orlando and Tampa for over 3 years now, and I still don't know that much.
It's okay.
So
I mean, Tampa is really broad, so you would only find a place if you actually looking for it. So.
that makes sense. So have you been
Mhm.
horseback riding for a while, or is that something you just recently started?
So, as a full-time actress, I dedicated myself to learn at least three new skills or three new sports every year. So last year, I learned tennis, golf, and horseback riding. So I started from last year and keep it going until this year. So it's been a year and a half. Yeah.
That's awesome that you say that because I also have an episode about, setting goals for the year, setting a roadmap, quarterly goals, and then making sure I do them. So that's really interesting. What made you decide to do three a year, and how's it going for you having goals?
So I think one is too little. Two, maybe I'm still bored, but three is a good number. I don't want to do more than three because first is really expensive. Um, and I do want to focus on those three so I can get better at it. And even though I say three a year, this year the new skills that I just learned is surfing because I still want to continue to practice on my golf, tennis, and horseback riding skills. So for the past 2.5 years, I have been adding about four new skills into my portfolio.
That's freaking awesome. I'm like a person I love to learn and I'm always curious, but there's just never enough time. So last year in the summer, I got laid off from a tech company I worked for full time, which was very remote, very flexible. Then I was laid off for 4 months. So I focused fully on my acting career, but then, I needed money, so I got a job
Yeah,
in
I mean,
January.
being financially stable and okay, being financially stable is helpful because these sports are not cheap. I mean, we can find a cheap way to learn it, but to actually learn it good, and especially for acting, each acting class can cost you up to from $200 to $500 to $1,000 a
Yep.
workshop. And even though those are the money that you invest into yourself and you will make the money back in the future, but out of this moment, we need that money. And it's not just for class and for skills. We have to pay our bills and do other things as
Yep.
well.
And there's always
Hmm.
something like, and now especially adding acting on the resume. So the way that happened for me was I was looking for a local voiceover agent because it's like the radios and stuff, they need stuff here too, so there has to be something. So I emailed
Hmm.
Level. They were my first agency here. And
Okay.
Brittany like sent me a message right back. She's like, "Oh my God, we don't really do voiceover, but we have a German client. Do you do on camera?" And I was like, "I've done a commercial before, and like as a teenager I did some stuff." But
Hmm.
she's like, "Send me a self-tape." So here I go. And I have like this picture. I'm wearing like pajama shorts, but up top all professional. Two
Of
ring
course.
lights. And
Of
then she
course.
was like, "All right, here's your welcome package." And I had just taken a acting class for a business for actors, and there came with a consultation at the end. I was like, "Oh my God, Law,
Ooh.
I just got a on camera agent." She's like, "Hey, we're going to LA in a few weeks. If you want to be put in the pile to go to LA to do it's like commercial, theatrical, and VO with the casting directors training and a showcase with agents and managers, put your pile in." Was selecting a few people, and then I got that. And then because I was laid off, I was like a week later, I was in LA. And then it just spiraled. I was like, "Okay, I'm in it for the ride."
That's awesome. It's a way that the universal sends signal to you that hey, it's time to do something about it.
100. So that leads me to the question, how did you get into acting? And was it theatrical or theater or commercial first?
So I was a child actor back in Vietnam. That's where I'm originally from. But back there, you have to have three things to stay in the entertaining industry. You have to be really pretty, you have to be really rich, or you have to be very talented. I wasn't that talented back then. I'm not really considered pretty because of my darker skin. Because I mean, in Asia, we prefer uh,
Mm-hmm.
brighter skin. And I came from a poor family back then. So I stopped acting. I mean, my mom and dad made me stop acting
Oh.
and make me play sports instead. But I mean, it is great. It is better career choices for me back then because back then I compete professionally for my national team in chess and table tennis, which
Nice.
gave me a lot of opportunities to travel around Asia and to speak English. And because I speak English well, I got a scholarship to Arkansas. So I spent 6 years. My first 6 years in the U.S., I lived in Arkansas.
Oh my
And
God.
that's when I met my husband, and he's a journalist in the Air Force. So in the Air Force, you have the GI Bill where you
Mm-hmm.
can go study for free. So he learned cinematography from Full Sail University in Orlando, and of course he needed someone to be in front of him for him to do the assignments and all of that. So of course, I mean, I'm already there. Let me do it, and it brought back the love of acting into me.
Oh.
And back at that time, yeah, I was like 24, 25. We already had a kid, and I have a stable job now. I have a good family, a kid. Maybe it's time for me to release my dream, my childhood dream. But is it too late? Because I feel like you have to start from the very bottom, from the
Mm-hmm.
very young, and I'm 24, 25. Who's gonna hire me? And of course, I did not know what the markets in the U.S. need. But it's one step at a time. I started taking classes for a good 6 months and then start fighting some little commercials on the Facebook casting calls through, build enough portfolio and start reaching out for agencies. And now I'm represented by different agencies in Florida, South Florida, Atlanta, and Southeast, and also in LA. My expertise is commercial, but I moved to LA to do more TV and film. It's not happening yet, but
It's
I'm
a good
working on
time
it.
for you though, because it is, you know how it was for the black community when they finally introduced more, black people as like main characters. Then they were like more females, and now, with
Yeah.
a lot of the really good Asian films that came out, especially, oh my God, now I'm like blanking, the Everything Everywhere at the same time. Was
Where?
it that?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
now they're really looking for more agents. It could be a really good time. The universe was on your side too with everything. It's like amazing. And
I
I
hope
love
so
that you
too.
share that because it's really never too late. Like, same thing. I always wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be an entertainer. And then at some point, they were like, okay, you need to decide on a career. In Germany, they're also very strict. Seventh grade, they're like, okay, think about it now. And then I was still singing. But eventually, I was like,
You
hey, now
sing.
I grew up. Yeah, I'm not like a great singer, just like with talent, but I am passionate about it, and I sang in like musical and stuff. So I
Hmm.
can, but I'm not. I'm good. I can do it, but I'm not like the best. Okay, and so people, but
I'm
I
sure you
love
did
it.
it. But
That's
you
my
love it. You're
passion.
good at it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's my passion. So singing was funny because when I was in LA, one of the agents, because they do like this like blind date when you do these showcases, you talk with every agent one on one. You have like Bing, and then next agent, and one of them was like, I think he was actually from one of the big agencies that are in LA and Atlanta, and he was like, oh, singer, all singers end up being voice actors. And he was a commercial agent, so it was really funny. And that's when I learned, yeah, it has to do with the voice. I just love really how that it feels when the voice comes out, the emotions that there are. And what I loved about voice acting when I got started in that is I don't need eye lines. I don't need to worry about other things. I can act behind the mic and bring real emotions, but my dream character would still be a character that also sings. So I'm still hoping Rainbow High or something. Something is happening.
We can all have a hope. Hope is free. Dreams are free. Dream
Oh,
big.
all for it. And just like you, I set my goals, like what classes I want to take, what I want to do, budget for
Hmm.
the year. So this summer, that wasn't so much because in October, I'm flying to LA to do like a 4 day camp. It's like in Idlewood. So I have to take like a 2 hour drive down south from LA when I get there. It's
Oh,
like a camp retreat where it's all about voice acting, video games. And actually didn't even know they're inviting like agents and managers and casting directors there. I was just going there to learn
that's
because the
awesome.
casting director, she's like freaking the bomb. So I wanted to learn from
How
her.
did you find something like that?
Honestly, on going to conferences, I went to the Atlanta voiceover conference in March, and I like met a bunch of people and what niche I was in. I was in trying to figure it out, and that's when I knew. And then I followed that person, and she has like a network, and they partner with someone. So yeah, but it's definitely
That's very
harder on
cool.
this end to like connect with people virtually. I'm like someone you meet in person, and then we're like, cool. But virtually, you can't be like, "Hey, what's up?" It's just creepy and awkward.
Right.
But I'm curious. I saw that you're SAG eligible. It's like the dream to be because you can do both at the same time. What was the project that you worked on that got you the SAG E status? Was it a commercial or was it something else?
So they are all commercials. The first one was just back in January. So I've been acting for about 3.5 years and like part time. But then last April was when I quit my corporate job to do it full time. It's been okay, but thank you, but I've never really got a SAG gig before until this year.
Was it the
So back
WWE
in,
commercial?
no, it was not. It was just a regular commercial, but I love it though. I love it. The fun fact, my mom saw it in Vietnam. It's aired in Vietnam too, so it's aired internationally.
Get out! But was it a SAG commercial? Was that a non-union
It
commercial?
was not. It's non-union. Yeah.
Really?
So so the first one was with a pharmaceutical company back in January. The second one was in February for Mercedes-Benz battery, but it
Ooh.
was just a backup actor. Still, it was a SAG. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It was still the SAG commercial, so that's counted the second one, even though I just was a backup. And the third one was for a Jeep commercial that aired during March Madness. So those three was the reason why that I become SAG.
Oh, but is it different for commercials? Like, don't you have like a minimum until you have to join when you must join for
So
commercials?
I called SAG and talked to them, and they say that I can still do the next SAG, but after that next SAG, I will have to join. It's
Okay,
a
then
must
it's must
join.
join. Yeah.
But I mean, that is only if you're in LA or New York or other states. I believe that if you do it in Florida or Georgia, you don't have to. But don't quote me on that.
Yeah,
I
I
may
don't know
be
because
wrong. But
I
that's what
just
I've
did a
heard.
I did a headshot session this weekend, and it was with an actress, and she's FICOR, which, if you don't live in the major markets, for a lot of people, that's the only option because there are not a lot of
Right.
SAG jobs, which that's what I
Mhm.
was curious about. If you had to go SAG, and now obviously, especially if you want to do theatrical, that's like awesome then. But for me it's the same because all the voiceover jobs that you really want, they're all SAG, so the best case is to be SAG-E and get in, which why I was trying to do background work this year, and then all of the stuff happened that happened this year. There's no acting jobs
Mhm.
this year. But
Mhm.
is there enough SAG commercial work in the Southeast? Have you noticed that you've been getting now a good mix of SAG and non-union, or is it mostly non-union here?
I feel like I get more SAC auditions in the beginning of the year.
Hmm.
This time of the year, I feel like more non-SAC. I've been auditioned for two SAC commercials for the past 1 or 2 months, but I didn't get booked for it. But I feel like more SAC commercials was aired or being recorded at the beginning of the month.
I thought right around now all the holiday stuff was gonna start
That's
coming
why I
in.
thought too.
It seems to be a little slow on that end, but
Or or
no,
maybe I did not get requested for it. So yeah.
there have been a few projects where I'm always excited when you say you're coming to the area. It's like I wonder if you're getting one of the roles for something I auditioned to. I don't think we like are on the same, not the same roles, but we would have been in the same project. So I saw you did one in Orlando, a medical something, and I saw you posted
Uh-huh.
with someone that was wearing a doctor's coat. I was like, oh, I think that person got the role that I auditioned for, which is really cool to see. I see some people on TikTok doing
Hmm.
this, like I auditioned for this, who ended up getting it, and you see it's a
Yeah.
completely different type. So it has nothing. We already know most of the time it has nothing to do with our acting or anything,
Mhm.
but how they fit together. And I was like, I think the one girl or woman that you took a photo with, I was like, I think she got that one role that was so awkward to audition for, but I had so much fun. I found like an appreciation for commercials. Everybody hates commercials, like, oh, commercial, now I gotta wait. Now I'm like watching them and I'm trying to see,
That's
okay,
what
this
I'm
one
gonna
has a
stay
lot.
and watch it. Yep, I'm gonna stay and watch it. I was like, did I audition for this one? Did I say those lines? Oh my gosh, I did say those lines. Wait, what? They chose that person? Yeah. No, she deserves better. No, no, I should be. No, no, yeah, yeah. I have a mixed feelings where I see it.
Also,
Sometimes like, it should be me, but sometimes I'm like, good choice, good choice.
I feel like it's also, you can tell, okay, these are people, sometimes they're like, you're just going to be in the background, or maybe it's like no lines, all improv. So when I see it, I was like, oh, it took them a lot. This one might have been a no callback, just straight in. This one probably had like a few callbacks. So they'll watch it, and I'm like, before, it's just so funny how you can enjoy commercials now because.
Yeah, because you look at it in a very different perspective, and yeah.
So on the WWE commercial, I'm sure you didn't, but I'm curious. Did you really wax the wrestler? It looked so real.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh my god.
And we whacked him so much that he bleed.
Oh, it
It's
looked
true.
so real. My mom was like, "There's no way." I was like, "I'm pretty sure he was waxed, but I don't know, like legally, if you're like
It's
allowed as an
real.
actor to wax."
So the hair wasn't real, but the waxing is real. His skin is on the skin,
Oh,
whoop, on the skin, whoop. And the one that we got him in the nipples is real. Oh my gosh,
uh,
I feel hurt. I felt so hurt when we filmed that, and I think we had to do it twice. Uh, I
oh.
feel hurt just to think about it right now. Yeah.
It just
But we
looked so
enjoyed
real. I like had to know. It's so nice to like
it. It was
inside.
real. It was real.
So my major question with you, I mean, for if like I said, if you're not following her, you really should. It shows so much behind the scenes and also all the traveling because you have kids, you have your husband. Where's your home base? Is it Atlanta?
So I consider myself a Florida home-based actor because I mean my own property is in Tampa, and my husband and our daughter used to live there for a little bit, and I had our daughter for the first 3 years of her life. But since I quit my corporate job, I wasn't sure if I'm able to take care of her financially. So my husband stepped in, took her to Georgia, where he stationed at,
Oh, he's still in the
and
military.
yes, he's in the Air Force.
Oh,
Yes, I'm sorry,
nice.
not station because station is active duty. That's where he's.
Assigned, yeah.
he works at the base there. So he has been taking care of her for me to live my dreams. So I am who I am today. It's big thanks to my husband and my mother-in-law because they had been helping a lot. Um,
I
like
love
taking
that.
care of
Without
Magnolia
my
so I
boyfriend, I
can.
couldn't do it either. So I love that you're open about it because I know there's a lot of guilt for us moms, trying to live our
Hmm.
dreams. Like right now, like I'm in here, it's like, all right, you can eat your pizza in the room today. Have fun. I'm
Hmm.
doing this podcast,
Yeah.
which is part of, our brand development, what we do. So I love that you're saying this because it's an appreciation for your child in that sense too, to see you can live your dreams. So your home base is here, but how do you know how it is in commercial more than theatrical? You get something, you audition, sometimes they give you less than 24 hours. They're like, hey, tomorrow morning it's like 5 p.m. Like, how do you plan
Um,
for those things?
most of the time I have 2 to 3 days notice. The worst one was just the day before, but I was able to catch my flight back. And in LA, I just moved to a place right next to the airport, so
Nice.
I can fly back anytime. The reason why I live in LA is because I want to get closer to TV and theatricals.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood is here, and also LA is open back up to in-person casting, in-person auditions.
Nice.
So I have to live here. So if I have an audition tomorrow, I can go to it. But then for Florida and for Southeast Georgia, I get 2 to 3 days to 1 week notice. Hey, you get booked for this. So I only fly back when I'm sure that I got booked.
Okay, because I've been wondering, because I mean, it can interfere with the, availabilities. You're like, all right, I learned at first I would be like, well, I can't take this one because I already said I'm available for that one. But I mean, the chances to get it are so low. Now I'm just like, if I like the job, I'm like, available, 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 available. And worry about it
Mm-hmm.
later. But
Yeah, yeah,
you're doing
that's
so
true.
well with the way you're like, okay, this weekend I'm gonna fly here and then I'm gonna fly back. Especially with the airlines, it has been so crazy the last few years that they're constantly canceling. Then there's no other flight. So have you had a situation where you weren't able to make it?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
Knock on wood. Not yet, thankfully. And I always try to fly back at least 2 days prior.
Nice. Okay.
So that's why I have not had that issue yet. But hopefully not in the future either.
Yeah.
Or I may have to buy a helicopter for myself. Maybe.
I'm in a situation where I was like, they were like, the flight is leaving, we can't check in, and there was like a whole bunch of issues with that shuttle we had. My sister and I were trying to go on a momcation. It's
Mm,
been like years. I had just moved back, and I picked a place to park that wasn't too far from the airport, but you had to shuttle. And I checked specifically
yes,
that at least every 15 minutes a shuttle comes. But for some reason that day,
it's
half
not.
an hour didn't come. We get there, they're like, sorry, we're already checking in for another flight. I was like, I don't care if you lose my luggage. We are not missing this flight. I was like, you don't understand. We got kids at home. We want to go to Vegas. And I convinced the lady, my sister to this day still says, I don't even know how you did it. I turned around and whatever, you're like, we got it. And they're like, well, you have 2.5 minutes to like get through TSA. And I was like, we can do it. And we're like, it was so full. The
Wow.
people let us up front. And I was like, we made it. And then I forgot there was a shuttle at the Orlando airport that you first have to take the shuttle to the gates. I was like, oh my God, we still got to take the shuttle. And then the shuttle arrives and I'm like running in heels and my sister's like taking off
Mhm.
her flip flops. And I swear this is very true. There was a lady in a wheelchair going, you can do it. Yeah, I
That's
felt like in the
nice.
movie, and we made it just on
Oh
time. They're
my
like, we were
God.
just about to close the gate, but we made it to Vegas.
Good for y'all. Good for y'all. Oh my gosh, that's hectic. And I hate that feeling of have to rush through the airport. It's heartbroken. It's just like your adrenaline is there and you and then you try to get this and that and make sure that you don't forget your laptop and the TSA and
Yeah.
it's too much. It's too much. It's too much.
I just
But
finally applied for pre-check. So hopefully it'll be really
I
only a few
tried to do
days.
that. But they didn't let me get into a booking. I'm sorry,
The meet
like
the
a
place
time frame
appointment.
to yeah.
Yeah, I did it. I did it here, and even though it was like 2 weeks away, so I did it like last week, and next week I have my appointment. It's a weird time, but I'll make it work. And then I was like, it should be fine until October because they say 3 to 5 days, up to 60. My mom did it, and she said it really didn't take long in the Tampa area. So maybe like you also want to do it when you're down here because it seems to be okay
Hmm.
with the different areas where they give you access. But I'm looking forward to be at least like where you are on that sense. I honestly I never thought of anything of commercials, but that would be such a nice way to segue in to make some nice cash because it pays better than some of the other things to support voice acting. And if eventually I were to get into theatrical, it would be nice. But I think for me, I'm starting out, I'm keeping my voice acting journey with commercial. And if it happens within the next couple of years to get more and more into theatrical, fine. I did some reels, but for now, my main focus was on voice acting and getting commercial jobs. I want to be traveling how you're traveling. I'm like, you're a real inspiration to where I feel like it's good to know. You said about 3.5 years. It's really what people say a lot of times. I'm like 2 years in officially full voice acting, and I joined Level Talent last November for commercial, and I finally I didn't submit to too many things at first, but this year I've been going hard, and I booked 2 jobs with them in like May, and
Woo!
now I'm always like, I was like, come on, come on, come on. Now I'm like got the itch.
That's awesome.
So I hope one day with all of the things that we're submitting for, since we're not always in the same, like I can play in like the little older category too. So I feel like when they always looking for 20s, 30s, and 30s, 40s, that hopefully we'll end up on set one day together and like, oh, you're here, you're here. I was like, sweet.
That would be great.
Oh man, but I know you're in the car and you just came from your lesson, and I'm just so happy that we get to see each other face to face to share your story, which is so unique to you as well. Coming from Vietnam as a child actor and all of the things you faced, not being in those categories. You talked about coming to America, not even thinking about, that finding your dream later as a mom, full on adult, which I can relate to, and a lot of people, especially in the voice acting industry too. And now really met that point where you could say, cool, full time, and you're doing it and you're showing it. So whenever you feel like blah, always think people are looking up to where you are at this point. I'm one of those people, and I'm super
Thank you.
excited that you are
Thank you
on.
so much. Thank you so much, Jessica. That's
So
really,
stay on
really
for
nice
a
of
moment for
you.
me, real quick, but for everybody else, or for you listening, Barry, if you're listening all by yourself, say bye to Nina, and let's see you next time.